Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari. He's from Nepal. And Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari is a communication theorist, media researcher, and author. Dr. Adhikari has given us a very Asian model of communication called as Sadharanikaran model of communication. He's currently an associate professor at the Department of Languages and Mass Communication in Kathmandu University, Nepal. He's an author and editor of as many as 60 published books and 75 research articles, and also is a principal researcher or lead researcher of several research projects. Over to you, Professor Nirmal Mani Adhikari.
Thank you. Namaskar. As Professor Padmarani introduced, I am a communication theorist from Nepal, but currently speaking from Nepal. What I am speaking today is directly related to the very theme of ICA conference, reclaiming authenticity in communication. Okay, before the Sadharanikaran model of communication came, it was the Western scholars utilizing the very Euro-American paradigm to conduct research on communication, but claiming a kind of universalization in order to describe the communication practices of different parts of the world, different cultural locations. So earlier than that, one had to view the very process of communication from the lens of Western communication theory. But with the development of this, we can reclaim authenticity in communication. And then the very theme of this panel session, narratives and counter narratives, utilizing communication scholarship to influence perceptions and realities of socio-economic development. I have added indigenous, the word indigenous there. It's about utilizing indigenous communication scholarship. So all of us know, you may go to the next slide, even next one. So we all know that there existed the dichotomy in the field of communication theory. The East-West dichotomy is a living reality in the context of communication theory, because people have been practicing communication as per their, let us say, civilization, culture, social practices, and so on. But the communication field, this field has been considering being dominated by Western discursive paradigm since its institutionalization in the academia. It was in the post-Second World War situation in the US that communication was institutionalized, and there was a kind of linear expansion from there. Next. Meanwhile, the endeavors to critique and enrich the field from Eastern or Asian philosophical perspectives started decades ago. Even there is concept of Afrocentricity, there is concept of Asia centricity. In the East-West Center of Hawaii, a conference was organized in 1980 back then, about Eastern and Western perspectives of communication, having a kind of, let us say, a comparative perspective. So what has happened? The field of communication theory has been witnessing a paradigm shift, thereby promoting multicultural and multidisciplinary theorization of communication. So with this, there is concept of de-Westernization, which started critiquing the Western discursive paradigm and its one-sided or totalizing tendency to define communication from its own location, but claiming a kind of universality. So after de-Westernization, let us say, so many contributions from Nepal, from India, from Sri Lanka, from China, let us say Japan, and so on. And scholars from the West teaching there, conducting research there, but seeking perspectives from India and China especially. So due to all these contributions, there came another phase, reorientation. So, but the final stage is, once you have communication theories from the West, it was already there, And now people like me contributing communication theories from our own locations. So now you have two different examples. And now you can work on reconciliation of the East and the West through communication theory. So if we see, if you conduct a literature review, you can see the East is visible now. It is not like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Now, Western scholars approaching communication from Eastern perspective, you can see a group of scholars like this. Another group of scholars, Eastern scholars working in the Western academia, but approaching communication from Eastern perspective. And the third one, like me, Eastern scholars at the home countries approaching communication from the Eastern perspective. And if you conduct literature review, people like me are being cited enormously. So many people from the West, from other parts of the world, they have been reading and they have been citing. So it makes the East visible. People now, the core concepts like Sadharanikaran, Saridayata, these are known to people in the USA, let us say in the Australia, in the Africa, in the South Americas, and even in different countries of Asia. They know at least the core concepts, and there is, let us say, this appreciative mood. We shall consider the importance of communication scholarship in the non-Western countries as well. Next, please. So theorization from the East, yeah, by these three groups I mentioned, it's ever increasing, and Eastern contributions to the field of communication theory, yeah, it was dismissive in the preliminary phase, but the people which were associated with their home countries, they were narcissistic. They wanted to do something, and sometimes there was much bigger claim than the contributions. Okay, but now currently there is appreciative evaluation and many publications here. Maybe sometimes it's just token, yeah, but it has become a ritual to mention non-Western communication theory as well. At least it opens up. Okay, next. So one example of indigenous theorization is the Sadharanikaran model of communication, for which I'm known. And in fact, Sadharanikaran model of communication, it was originally constructed in 2003, and its representation of communication process from many people would say Hindu, yeah, but due to some let us say genuine reasons, I would like to use the terminology Bharatvarsha. That is, yeah, of Bharatvarsha. Here, not only Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, yeah, and others also. They cohabit here. So it is systematic description in diagrammatic form of a process of attaining mutual understanding, commonness or oneness among people. It illustrates how the communicating parties interact in a system, which is called the process of Sadharanikaran for the attainment of Saridayata, the oneness. Next, please. So this is an example of indigenous theorization. Here, the core concepts, they are taken from our, let us say, ancient texts, from the very civilization, and it has its foundation on the core concept of Saridayata. If you see the word Sadharanikaran, the very concept behind it, and the Saridayata, both are concept, and they have been developed as a construct in the research. You know the very importance of construct to develop models, theories, yeah, and all these. So the construction, please, next, please. So the concept of Saridayata, if you go, Saridayata is composed of two words, Samana and Hridaya. So Samana is same or equal. Sometimes it means harmony, empathy, you may say, like that, or being. And Hridaya is heart or becoming. In our Upanishadic tradition, in fact, heart and mind, they are one. So those who have attained the state of Saridayata, they will be called Saridaya. So Saridaya is the noun, and the quality the Saridayas inherit or develop, that is called Saridayata. So next, please. So if we see Samana Hridaya is mentioned in Rig Veda, I have that mantra here. Some of you might have heard Samani va akutihi Samana Hridayani va Samanamastu mano yatha susahasati. So Samana Hridayani, Samana Hridaya. If we let us say join these two words, it becomes Saridaya. And the word Saridaya is actually mentioned in Atharva Veda. It is the first text that actually mentions Saridaya is Atharva Veda. There is Samanasya Sukta, or sometimes it is called Samanjasya Sukta as well. Saridayam Samanasya Movidesam Hinomi Vaha. The mantra goes like that. And Rasa Sutra is very important in this aspect. Though Rasa has been mentioned in Upanishad itself, Taittiriya Upanishad, Rasa Vaisaha, but the actual Rasa Sutra comes in Natya Shastra of Bharata Muni. Next, please. So when we have to discuss about this, the very process of Sadharanikaran, then we have to draw on Vedic texts and then Natya Shastra and to some extent Vakyapadiya. So aspects of Saridata has been one of the major concerns of Sanskrit literary criticism. Many authors, including you might have heard their name, they are very famous. Kalidasa, Abhinava, Bhavabhuti, and Kuntaka have discussed about Sarida and Saridata. But the theory of Sadharanakirana is actually developed by Bhattanayaka in order to explain the Rasa Sutra. It's misconception that Bharata Muni gave the theory of Sadharanakirana. No, he gave that Rasa Sutra, and while explaining how that is possible, Bhattanayaka came with the theory of Sadharanikaran. So next, please. So we have to go to that concept. So what is Saridata then? It can be considered as social preparedness, and that entails living amongst people, sharing their joys and sorrows, but encompassing the entire humanity within becoming a citizen of the world. I have quoted Dr. Vidyanivas Mishra. So here the core concept is how, next please, how people of different castes, different ethnicity, different language background, all of us know countries like Nepal and India are not like China or previous England or France like this. They were based on single ethnic identity. Yeah, but since time immemorial, we have multicultural setting, multi-ethnic, multilingual setting. So we needed such communication model, such communication theory, which can incorporate all of the diversities together, irrespective of asymmetrical relationship in the society. So how people from one background can communicate with people from other different backgrounds? Please, next. So how people can become that is let us say being able to communicate empathetically with others. It's not common. The role of culture is crucial in this regard. Culture provides the basis for saridata on which an individual has to undergo a natural course of evolution. So the very theme of this panel, yeah, perceptions and realities of socio-economic development, that becomes very relevant. Please go to next slide. So Saridata is the construct, as I mentioned. It is in the Vedic text, it is in the Natya Shastra tradition, all these things. But we needed to work further on this. You can keep this. I'll go further. So Saridata is the construct. Now we drew on that very concept and then applied that to the communication context. So that should not be limited to the domain of poetics and aesthetics. If we make that way, that will be an elitist approach. So how people use that very notion of Saridata in day-to-day communication. So in fact, various research has been conducted. Yeah, how even the complex concepts like Advaita Vedanta, it's very, very complex concept. Even students or scholars today having higher degrees, they find difficulty to explain Advaita Vedanta. But Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara, and so many other gurus, they made the major themes so popular that we can find the elements of Advaita Vedanta, even folklore. Yeah. So this there are so many techniques. I'm not going to that. I'm sticking to the major theme. So Saridayata has been used as a construct to analyze how successful communication was possible in such society where there is asymmetry in terms of, let us say, power, in terms of wealth, in terms of varna, in terms of asrama, in terms of, let us say, castes and all these. But the one thing is common: they have been communicating. The successful communication is there. If there would be, let us say, just linear communication approaches, our society could not sustain till now. There are many instances in which people would engage in fights, conflicts, yeah, all these things. But these are minor things. What is major thing? Civilization is thriving here. We have let's say thousands of years of history of civilization, and people coexist, people communicate, and you can take example of Kumbh. Yeah, people from Nepal, India, they easily understand that. Hmm, millions of people from different backgrounds would yeah, gather to one place. Yeah, they don't know each other, they don't understand each other's language. Yeah, even they have different food habits. There is vast difference, but they all understand, they all perform all rituals and go like that. So how this is possible? This is possible due to the very let us say intuition. It is termed pratibha by Bhartrihari. Yeah, or that feeling, we may say, that feeling of Saridayata. So due to the very quality of Saridayata, people can overcome all the differences, and they have been yeah, communicating very successfully. And that can be utilized even today, because the function of theory not only describes, it explains, it predicts, and it can be applied for, let us say, in a way, control function. So if we work uh, on this theory, we can develop variables, and that can be applied even today. People can be manipulated in a way, let us say. So to have that quality, sorry, that quality, if we move from how communication is conducted in Bharatvarsha society to how communication shall be, let us say, practiced here, then we can come to this, how we can influence perceptions and realities, and how that can be applied for socio-economic development. For this round, I would like to keep this much. Thank you. Namaskar.
I'm sure Dr. Adhikari will have a response to that. But an indigenous model of communication that is based on a certain nativist interpretation of one's culture, which is very textualist, based on a certain ancient religious text and so on, does it really represent the, lived experiences of the marginalized people? And I'm saying these alternative epistemologies should be based on the lived experiences of people, of the most marginalized, the most voiceless, and so on. And that's the reason I think what Dr. Oidele had to say had a resonance in what I was saying. Yeah. So this is just to problematize some of this conversation that we had. Thank you.
So thank you, Professor. I would like to give an example. Okay, we had to start from where we could start. Okay, that is why we started from the very established concept, the Sadharanikaran, and based on that we could come up with a theory. But there could be not only one theory. There shall be so many theories, and models of communication, even within India, even within Nepal. So when we started our masters in media studies program, yeah, we had specifically 3 courses from theory side. One, communication and media theories. Okay. Second, communication traditions in Nepal and Asia. Okay, if it would have been in India, it would be communication traditions in India and Asia, like that. And another, philosophy and communication. Let us take example of communication traditions of Nepal and Asia. In that course, we have covered an ethnic group called Gandharva. Gandharva, who are Gandharvas? They are considered untouchables. They make their livelihood by playing some instruments and singing. And in addition to that, what they used to do, they used to tell people about current happenings. Yeah, centuries ago, when there were no newspapers, no radios, no televisions, how people would know what is happening, let us say, another part of the country. So these people would make would sing events. Yeah, it is called ghatana. I am translating that. So they would tell people about the current happenings through songs, yeah, playing their instruments. So we have included a section in this course where uh, we would uh, uh, we would gather information about that. Some publications are there that also will be included, but our students and faculties, they would conduct field research about those marginalized groups. Yeah, likewise, there is a tradition called katual. That means certain person being entitled to transmit information about, let us say, some social gathering or like that. Yeah, what would he do? So he would make a louder voice, sometimes using some instrument to draw attention of the people, and then just pass the notice. Yeah. So they are also not in the very upper hierarchy of the society. They make their livelihood with meager incomes. Yeah. Now one part of that course is to investigate, to conduct research on those people. Likewise, so political communication in Nepal during Anglo-Nepal War. You might have heard Nepal fought against even yeah, British Empire, even Chinese Empire, and it survived. Yeah, in at that time, so many countries they lost their independence. But in case of Nepal, we don't have any Independence Day. Why? Because we were never colonized by others. We were always free. But to have that freedom, Nepal had to struggle a lot. And while making that struggle successful, it has very unique, let us say, political communication strategy. And not the elite people worked for that. Who worked for that? Like Gandharvas, like Katuas, like sannyasis, yeah, monks, all these things. So while preparing that course, we thought of including the most, let us say, marginalized, even those were oppressed, untouchable people in the society, but they worked for the betterment of the society from the perspective of communication as well. So this is just an example. So we are not limiting ourselves to ancient texts. Yeah, at some time the text might have been accessed by very few people, but how those texts were practiced, and not only those texts, the various communities, as per the need of the society at that time, they developed some communication strategy. So I think Sadharanikar model of communication is significant in the sense it established that indigenous communication scholarship is in fact possible. Yeah, not only it is not only a matter of discourse, yeah, and let us say complaining that the West has only dominated all these things. So it moved ahead. Yeah, except just not limiting to complaints. It showed that there can be a communication model fully developed, even that would qualify in terms of Western rigors, yeah, all these things. And now we can work further. So taking this as an example and furthering others, now we have widened the field. We have come to the let us say practical aspects of indigenous communication scholarship, and we can do further. Thank you.
यस भिडियोलाई लाइक कमेन्ट र सेयर गर्न नबिर्सिनुहोला। फेरि फेरि यस्तै रोचक भिडियोहरू हेर्नका लागि यस च्यानललाई सब्स्क्राइब गरेर घन्टी बजाइदिनुहोला।